Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here. Zooming in on the topic of what exactly is narcissistic supply. I had a viewer inquire about what exactly does it mean to be a source of narcissistic supply for somebody. So I plan to delve into that here today because I think it'll add some clarification and understanding not only of the role that you play on the relationship with a narcissist, but really how does a person with a narcissistic personality disorder utilize people in their environment, and how do they approach life in general? I think it'll give you some good insight and better understanding. Well, narcissist supply was a concept first introduced by psychoanalytic theory by a Dr. Frenick in 1938. So its origins have been well known in the literature for quite some time. And it's describing really a type of admiration, interpersonal support, or sustenance, basically meaning sustenance is which you draw your energy from, by an individual from his or her environment, and essential to their self-esteem. And bear with me on the wind here. And they essentially, the narcissist, a person with narcissist personality disorder, will derive their self-esteem from those outside of themselves. Essentially, a narcissist, in order to be fueled, in order to feel that they have accomplished something, in order for them to feel motivated, juiced up, charged up, like they're living their life purpose, like they're living their passion, like they are being their true self. Basically, their inner personality is to create a source of support and supply from those around them. And it's vital to them to keep their inner life going, as it is, say, water or food is for an everyday person. They derive their sense of self-esteem from their supply, meaning it's the validation that the supply provides to them that keeps them forever wanting more supply. They're on a constant hunt every single day to secure more supply. And that comes in the form of admiration. So think of admiration in terms of supporters. If you're a musician, and you want admirers, you want people to be in your fan club, you want people who are groupies. This is essentially what the narcissist is doing. They're wanting an underling source of support, people who are their underlings, people who essentially are there to prop them up, inflate their ego, validate how good they are, how talented they are, how wonderful they are, how charming they are, how good looking they are. They need constant feedback from their narcissist supply. They need constant input in order to feel self-esteem inside, which means self-worth. Now, that is someone with true narcissist personality disorder. They derive that admiration. They like to feel acknowledged for being above others. And this is oftentimes not really based on merit. It's oftentimes not really based on really a true accomplishment. Think of the person, a new hire in an organization, who essentially just wants to be a manager, a supervisor. All they really wish to do is be above others. You know, this is a typical narcissist trait where they really want to, almost get out of the work by being above others. They feel like others should essentially do the work, feed their ego, give them their opinion. What do you think about me? Me is the operative factor when you're dealing with supply. All arrows are pointing to the narcissist, and oftentimes it's to the lack of really wanting true reciprocity within the relationship. It's a very one-direction, one-sided relationship. And they need really, this interpersonal support. In other words, the normal healthy person wouldn't really require that much admiration. For a lot of healthy people, it really comes from within. Knowing that they've done a good job, knowing, that they have internal self-esteem, They're not looking to other people, other sources of support, to do them favors, to give them recognition, to constantly give them accolades, to constantly give them feedback, to prop them up, to prop up their ego. You know, your self-esteem should come from a locus within yourself. That is self-esteem. It's having self-worth. It's knowing that you matter. It's knowing that you count. It's knowing that you're valid. It's knowing that you have worth in this world. And that it's coming from within, and it's sourced from within, and you develop this through experience. Your self-worth should not really come from outside of you, either an object or a person. You know, this really has to be permission-based inside the individual. So the narcissist will seek to surround themselves with sources of supply, objects, people, organizations that bolster up, that feed up their ego. And it's not a two-directional thing. In other words, they're not there to be supportive of you. They're not there to acknowledge the other supply. They're basically to utilize them for their very means and support wherever you can get them to the next level, to feeling good about themselves, for applauding them. That is strictly your purpose. And so what happens when they have worn you out, they have exhausted you as a source of supply or interest to them, they essentially let them go, or we see what is called the discard phase, where they just kind of, you know, they just kind of end they begin to lack interest. They give you criticism, judgment, things of that nature, which, you know, then lead to the discard, where you feel like you weren't heard, you weren't acknowledged, and your worth was not validated by them, because really it's a one-sided relationship with a narcissist personality disorder type of individual. And, you know, it's you know, pathological in nature with someone who truly has this disorder. Pathological meaning it's too extreme, it's excessive, and it's not healthy. In other words, they will strive to secure this above and beyond anything else in their life. So when they get out of bed, they're just trying to prop up themselves with supply. You know, who emailed me? Who you know, fanned me. You know, you see a lot of this on Facebook. You know, who friended me? It's a very high maintenance, sort of high narcissistic kingdom that is created there. And it's very, sometimes, you know, unreal, because, you know, people are basing their reputation on, you know, likes and things of this nature without really, you know, being a friend, having, you know, a back and forth with them. So there's really a lot of situations where narcissists try to seek a lot of this supply. So various sources can be, you know, sexual in nature, romantic relationships. Narcissists prefer to surround themselves with people who make them look good. So not that they're interested in them per se, but if, you know, you're good looking and you're eye candy, you know, you've got a good figure, you are a model, you are got a great smile, you have a great body, what other objectifying, you know, these are the types of things that the narcissists have said that, you know, they surround themselves with these people is essentially just to look good. And not that they care about these people, you know, they strictly use them to prop up themselves, to make them look good, to make them look attractive. And so the more sources of supply they can surround themselves with, the more puffed up their ego can be, the more sort of supply it is kind of feeding their self-esteem. It's creating a cycle. And so when the narcissist is ready to move on, they are ready to move on. And oftentimes without explanation or warning, you know, they just kind of cut it off. You know, they become more involved with their life, their you know, their pursuits, and it's not reciprocal, meaning they're not generally there for you, you're there for them. So we're going to do and explore more on this in future videos. However, I think I want you to understand the difference between, you know, what supply is to them, the role that one plays, and how it really varies. Relationships vary so much from person to person when we talk about a person with narcissist personality disorder versus your normal everyday person who, you know, wants just relationship, meaning, and future growth. peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos help. Please do share. Please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.